Go ahead, moderator, please.
Okay. Hello and welcome to AWIPA Foundation virtual event. I am excited to have you join us here. I'm particularly excited and delighted about all the amazing conversation we'll be having today. Our theme for today is the power of numbers in gender parity in politics. We'll be having three amazing erudite speakers who will be speaking on this topic. So please get your pen and notebook ready. Write down your questions that you would love to ask them. Now, before we get started, I would like to introduce this amazing visionary. She is the convener and founder of AWIPA Foundation, Olawumi Heavens. She's a 19-year event veteran with over 4,000 trained persons to her name. She's also a media entrepreneur. She has a combined honor in history, education with other certificates in digital, media, human resource management, project management, communication, and much more. Her work in the INGO and NGO community spans over 21 years. She has held various positions with international organizations like Junior Chamber International, KH Africa, UNSYA, Africa Achievers Awards, amongst others, with commendations and awards of acknowledgement. She's passionate about women and youth empowerment. She believes in development through synergy and active participation. She's the convener of African Women in Politics Arise. Please welcome with me Olawumi Heavens, the convener of AWIPA, to give her opening remarks. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I would say welcome once again to everyone. It's really always a great honor to have this conversation because as you know, I think I'm not sure if this is the fourth or the fifth one we're having. We've had one of those ones where we had to talk about media, which I think was the last one. But I just want to briefly explain what AWIPA is about. AWIPA is actually a foundation, Africa Women in Politics Arise, and it's basically a bridge between women who are interested in politics and the platform and everything they need. And although this is not the only platform we have, but maybe because of my media background, I honestly believe that it starts from the place of conversation. And from the conversation, we're able to move on to action. And we've had so many interesting conversations. One of what we do is also to use media for development. And as I said, being a ladder or a bridge between those who want to be in office, whether it's information, whether it's being the link between the donor and those people who need it, and much more. And one of the most important things for us also is getting people heard, especially the women with disability in politics. We've had a sit down with them, and as we speak, we're already coming up with a workshop for women with disability who are in politics, because it's important that they be heard. As much as we have, that imbalance when it comes to gender equality in every sphere, especially in politics, it's more pronounced when it comes to people with disability. And so for me, it's one of those key points or key factors that need to be, brought to light, or that we need to shed light on. Last week, we were talking about media and politics, and that was when the gender parity really came to mind. Gender parity really did come to mind because Dr. Yemisi was talking in terms of media, and then she brought out the numbers, the fact that it's obvious, even when you look at all the graphs and all the surveys, whether in Africa or across the world, that there is a serious gender imbalance, especially in politics. Of course, we know it's everywhere, but this is a platform where you're supposed to make decisions. Politics is that platform. Why are we bringing people? Because the people speaking today are not politicians. And so you might be wondering, okay, why that? These are people who, in one way or the other, over the years, have proven over and over again that it's possible to achieve a lot, especially with numbers. They have come up with their own the platforms. They have helped women in different spheres, whether it's the entrepreneurial sphere of influence, NGO, and much more. And they've done this by sheer will, and a lot of them starting with their own resource. And I believe that there's no need to keep reinventing the wheel. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Apologies, I had to mute the person. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel. I really believe that if there is a particular mold or method that is working already, all we have to do is probably customize it and then be able to replicate it on other platforms or in other spheres of influence. And because they've been able to do this, I honestly, okay, can you hear me? Someone is saying there's no sound. Is it from me? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Okay, I think it's from your end. You could, if you could please reconnect. Okay, so for me, I believe that if we're going to do something, we don't need to start all over again. We don't need to reinvent the wheels. If they have been able to build their platform from scratch and they have that much numbers at the moment, I believe that we can look at their model and replicate it even when it comes to politics. I don't know if Miss Purity is here yet. She's supposed to be our first speaker. But anyways, I know that we're in for a good ride. If you have questions, please feel free to just have them written down. I definitely would have my own questions also, because I'm curious about some of the things that our speakers have definitely achieved. Over to you, moderator.
All right, thank you so much. My apologies to everyone. I didn't know that my audio was off, so I was giving my opening speech and I didn't know nobody could hear me. So yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Olawumi Heavens. And definitely, yes, we are going to have an amazing, amazing talk today, conversation. And I would like to invite our very first speaker, Happiness Annie. But before she comes up to talk, let me just read this brief on her. Happiness Annie is the founder and president of Abuja Moms and Abuja Moms Empowerment Foundation, a platform dedicated to helping women achieve their social, mental, and economic well-being in Abuja, Nigeria. Mrs. Annie is a visionary, she's a trailblazer, women empowerment enthusiast, and ever innovative game changer. She's passionate about building bridges for women to take leadership roles and flourish in their endeavors. Her social network on Facebook, Abuja Moms, a female-only online and offline community with a membership base of 44,000 women all over Abuja, continues to create innovative ways for women to encourage, empower, and lift themselves up, take leadership roles, and impact their communities. Happiness believes that great things happen when women come together. Mrs. Annie's vision is to build a strong community of women in Nigeria where every woman is important and her voice is being heard, a community of game changers and change makers in their family, spheres of influence, and community at large. So welcome with me, Happiness Annie. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Thank you so much, Olawumi, for inviting me, and thank you, Chinea, for the profile. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm very excited to be here to talk about something that has always been what I love to do, see women come together, see women, unite for greatness, basically. So I'll take, for instance, the platform Abuja Moms. We started Abuja Moms, wanting to unite women. And in the past 5 years, we have been able to do that very successfully. We've seen women grow to their full potentials. We've seen women, come together to achieve what ordinarily we might not achieve on our own. The power of numbers cannot be overemphasized. Once we're together, and when you say coming together, having the power of number, it has to be coming together in a unifying purpose. Sometimes you could have 1 million people, just like Nigeria. We're so much in our nation. However, diverse interests, diverse ideas on how to put the country forward is what I like to think is setting us backwards. So being here to talk about the power in numbers when it comes to politics, I would like to reference the platform Abuja Mobs. I hope that that's okay, because yeah, because we have really grown, on the platform. You see a lot of women who are now very successful in their business. Women, because we each time we gather, the whole idea, the unifying purpose for us is that we want to be better versions of ourselves each day. So when you see women of like minds come together and this person wants to grow, the other person wants to grow, there is no way you want something other than growing, So it has truly helped us. Another instance I like to use is a particular tribe in Nigeria that, ordinarily, when people want to make a lot of profit, they are more interested in the tiny profits that they get, but the margin of the people who they sell to. Another instance is if you go to the market and then you see two people selling the same wares, if you see that this particular person has so many people gathered there, naturally you tend to want to go there to find out what is going on. You tend to want to buy from them because you believe that, oh, for this number of people to be gathered here, it means that this person is selling a more quality stuff than what the other person is selling. I'm only trying to use these instances to buttress the point of what the power of number can help people achieve. And when it comes to politics, I believe that it is the same thing, because politics is our everyday life. Politics, some people say, yes, like Omawumi rightly said, I'm not a politician. However, I play the politics of family. I play the politics of, even with your children. There are certain things that you have to do that is quote unquote political, trying to make this person give the other person a little part of their sweet. There are things you have to do. So that's politics is our everyday lives. So if as women, we come together to say, this is what we want, this person can represent us, and, we all unite together, telling Nigeria that what we want is equal representation of both men and women, putting the women who have the
Please. Thank you. Thank you.
okay. I'm trying to find out whether that's Chineye or Olaomi now.
Please let's remain muted. We have a speaker who has the floor at the moment. Thank you.
So I was saying that as women, we can come together to say, this is what we want, it is important that we save our nation. I might not be a politician, but I understand that if we decide that this is what we want, and as women come together to say, we want equal representation. The men, it's important that the men are there as well. Kudos to all the men that are politicians and doing well, However, women as home builders, as people who manage a lot of things in the home front, a lot of things at work, it is important for us to be noticed. It's important for us to, be represented, in full capacity. That's the truth. So I'm excited to be here to learn from people as well, to learn from other speakers, what we can do, to make a lot more women come into politics and be proud to represent us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Happiness, Annie. Like what you just said, I like what you said about the power of numbers. Is just about when we talk about coming together, that it's all about coming together in a unifying purpose. And that's really what we're talking about here, coming together to see how we can make sure that the power of numbers helps with pushing our agenda forward. So thank you so much. If you're just joining us, it's a WIPA Foundation virtual event, and the theme is the power of numbers in gender parity in politics. So if you have your questions, please write them down, and when it's time for our Q&A session, then we'll have our questions. Okay, thank you so much. All right, moving on, we have our next speaker.
I would like to interrupt before we go to our next speaker. Part of what I said when I was speaking earlier on, I hope Happiness is still here. I was talking about just having a model that works. So for a lot of people, when you're starting out, anything, the question is, how do you start? What model do you use? Before we go to, we're waiting for Philip to connect, but we would like to ask you, how did the model start exactly? And how powerful has the fact that you have the numbers been in making things happen?
Okay. Thank you, Olawumi, for the question. The truth is, whenever you're starting any movement, any business, at the back of your mind, you have to have reasons and your purpose. My purpose basically was just to see women come together to become better versions of themselves. I needed to represent the women's sect. I needed for us to have a representation that tells the world that we can come together and do great things. I would like to talk about very recently, last week specifically, or 2 weeks ago, I think, because we came back last week, right? About 40 of us on the platform Abuja Moms traveled all the way to Dubai, and we went to various places. There are other people who came there, However, the fact that they could see, a certain set of people, all women, having a great time, people came to ask us questions. We had men, women from different nationalities, men, women from different countries asking questions, saying, where are you guys from? What's going on? What is Abuja Moms? Because we're, at almost all the points, we're wearing our T-shirts. We're trying to represent our platform and also represent Nigeria. So that gave us a lot of passes. It gave us some sort of importance. People, and that was what I wanted from the beginning. I wanted to create a group of women that can be authority. When people see us, they want to know, what are you about? So every day we speak to women, telling them how it is important for us to become better versions of ourselves, even at home, at our workplace. So because that was the basis for creating Abuja Moms, we don't forget it. We like to just keep talking about it, and then as we grow from 1,000 to 2,000 to 10,000 to 40,000, it didn't stop. Sometimes when people lose importance or relevance, I think it has to do with forgetting your aim, forgetting your purpose, forgetting what exactly was the aim for starting the platform in the first place. I think that's about it. Starting the platform Abuja Moms, we've seen other groups We've seen people rise to 1 million, 2 million, but it didn't change our focus. It didn't change what the plan is. I could have said, oh, okay, because this other group now has 2 million, you know, but there are men, there are women, there are people from other states. Let me just change the intention of the group so that I can attract a lot more people and have the permission, you know, to just click on accept, because, you know, the people who we have blocked or people who we have rejected are a lot more than the people that we have on the platform. So I think that basically the reason why we have grown is that we have stayed true to the essence of the platform. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yes, it does. I see we spoke about Nigeria as well. I think that's Ada that wrote that. Then, although next month we're talking about synergy, and we have some of the presidential aspirants from Kenya who are going to be our speakers. But part of the fear that people have when it comes to women is that when you talk about numbers, it means that we have to come together. And you know, even though we've been speaking about women supporting women, people are still afraid that, oh, when you have so many women in the same space, you probably would have problems. Oh, how is it going to work? And so when we come up talking about women supporting women or coming together en masse, because honestly, I believe that we have the number when it comes to, if we were going to come together and say, oh, this person is a particular person that is knows what they're doing, and we're going to say we're going to back you up to ensure that women have that number, I believe that is doable. But part of the fear, like one of those places where I went to speak, was that some people said, you know what, so what do you do when they don't support you? But you're in the midst of it. And I believe that you have, is it that you have the solution? Is it that there's an emotional intelligence thing? How exactly do we do it, knowing that women are emotional? And I tell people that being emotional is not a sickness, it's not a bad thing. It just goes to show that we're compassionate. That's what I think, that we're in touch with our feelings, we're in touch with how people feel. But for those who are concerned, especially when it comes to numbers, because I remember talking to one of those people who are thinking to support women and be donors. And part of the issue, because of course we're encouraging the he for she, part of the issues they have is, okay, you're saying it now, is good when it comes to words, it's good that you're saying it, but how realistic, how possible is it? And that's part of why we chose this particular topic this month, so that they can also hear from women and of course a man who has been in the midst of women doing a lot of things and making things happen. How does this work? Is it possible? Can we make this happen realistically from your experience? How did you go about this? Because I know that it's not, people will just hear this and think, oh, it's a virtual platform. But I'm proudly Abuja Moms, and I know that a lot of physical meetings that go on, a lot of physical things happen. Yes, just in case you didn't know, proudly Abuja Moms. So I will leave you to answer that question.
Okay, thank you again. You know, there's nothing that is easy. You know, it's again, I like to use the reference I used in the past about this recent trip to Dubai. You know, coincidentally, at that point when we were in Dubai, there were lots of negative comments concerning Nigerians. You know, however, the few of us that were there made sure to speak our truths, you know, to make them understand that there are bad people everywhere, you know, there are bad people even in your own country, you know. In that same light, when people say that women cannot cohabitate or it's always trouble when women are together, the few of us who know what we're looking for, we continue to, you know, let the women understand that it's not about you, it's not about the way you feel, it's about, you know, the gender in totality. You know, even when you feel that your emotions, you just want to, you know, scream and do things that are not right, let there be a woman beside you that is saying, you know what, please just calm down. On the platform Abuja Mom, sometimes, you know, we have events and then women would always be women. However, the result is that we are going to teach those who do not know. You understand? And then we're going to let people understand that there is a lot that you can learn from people who understand what it is to, be focused about showing a very beautiful image of who we are. Truly, the Lord has created us beautifully well. Even with the emotions and everything, we can carry a lot of burden and still have the sense to, think about other people and how they feel. So it might not be as easy. I don't want to pretend and even on the platform Abuja Moms, but we're taking our time to teach. We're taking our time, to ensure that people who do not know that it is important for the move for women to have equal representation. No woman should drag us back. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for our speakers. The lady in charge of Sprangler is quite ill. I heard her voice and she can't even speak up at the moment. I think she's in the hospital from what I hear. We're waiting for Mr. Philip, who was coughing also. I think there's something in the air. So we're going to just obviously take questions while we wait for him. We're trying to get him to join. He was with us even before this started, before anybody joined the platform, just trying to clear his voice a bit. So we'll let while the moderator is trying to get him on, if anybody has questions, please feel free to just unmute your mic and ask a question, or raise up your hand and ask a question. The floor is yours if you have any questions. And in the meantime, I also wanted to use the opportunity to update. We're having, what's it called? We're having like a workshop for women in politics with disability. It was supposed to be this month already, but because of some logistics, we probably would have to wait till next month. Okay, Obi, I see your hand. Let me just conclude this. So we're just going to have to wait probably till next month to carry it out. And part of, as I mentioned earlier on, the concern for women with disability, because they are disadvantaged, on two sides or two ends. The fact that number one, they're women, and then they have disabilities. And then there's always the part of nobody inculcating them. Some of them is funds, some of them is information, and much more. And I reached out to some of the women in charge of the organizations for women with disability. There are quite a few of them, to just find out what the challenges are. Someone is unmuted. Could you please mute if you don't have the floor? Okay. So I reached out to them, and part of their concern, of course, is information and then people supporting them. And that's why we're having the workshop for them. We're partnering with some of the training organizations and some of the donors to have that done. Please go ahead, Obi, and definitely everybody would get to hear, concerning the workshop as it happens. And some of our partners in Kenya also will be on that platform, even if it's virtual, that they get to join us. So go ahead, Obi, please go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My question is to Sister Happiness. What are the challenges you're facing in, forming a woman group and carrying them along? Because I know in some groups, not everybody will believe in your vision and mission. And how do you cope with these challenges?
Obi, hi. So I would say it's the mindset. People coming with different mindset. However, once they come into the group, they get to see, what we're about and what we're pushing. Makes it a lot easier, because if it were just me talking to people about, what Abuja Moms is about, it would take a lot. It would take too much. I might not be able to do that for everybody. However, as people join the group, they get to understand what we're about, and then they quickly catch on to the vision. And I'd like to say that the people who caught up with the vision a lot more than the people who are not liking it completely, you know. So it's easier for you to just make it plain, you know, make it plain, make it known, let everybody understand what it is about, what the vision is, and I think it gets easier from there. I hope that answers you, Obi.
Thank you very much. Obi, I hope that answers your question. Obi, can you hear us? Okay, maybe she can't hear us anymore. I hope she got that though. Any other? Okay, we have our second speaker. Thank you so much for indulging us with so many questions. Thank you very much. We have our second speaker. So over to you, moderator.
All right, thank you so much. It's been fantastic. I'm sure we are all enjoying the conversation, and I'm really learning a lot. So if you have more questions to ask, let's leave them for the Q&A session just after the second speaker gives his own talk. All right, our second speaker is a visionary. He's a trailblazer, an entrepreneur, a consultant, and a digital marketer. His name is Philip Ude-Ocho. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. He's a knowledge worker who uses knowledge to create new knowledge. He's Africa's foremost digital entrepreneurship and empowerment promoter. He is the founder of Portfolio 9, a digital entrepreneurship and empowerment platform, also known as DEEP, with a mandate to bring entrepreneurship and vocational education to people at the bottom of the pyramid in Africa using social media. Portfolio 9's mission is to make entrepreneurship accessible by simplifying and innovatively delivering it to everyone's doorstep through collective and interactive learning and supports using social media systems and tools. I would like us to welcome Mr. Philip Ude-Ocho. Please welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Mr. Philip, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir. We can hear you perfectly.
Yes. Let me apologize. You can see from my face, I'm actually under the weather. But there are people that you cannot disappoint, like Madam Heavens. So I had to drag myself to do this. And so just forgive me if I get coughing every now and then. You can see from my face, I hurriedly like put on this cap just to look a bit presentable. But actually, I am seriously under the weather, cold, cough, and catarrh. Having said that, I'd like to, first and foremost, appreciate you for considering me worthy to be part of this. This is not something that we do all the time. Like I always say, anytime I have the opportunity, that empowering women is empowering the world roundly. When you empower women, you have not just empowered the household, you have empowered the entire community, the country, all the C words, you know, the continent, the entire world, the universe. Because women add value, women bring value. And so having more women participate in life-changing processes, life-changing activities is actually a good way to go. Excuse me. Excuse me. So we are talking about numbers and politics. I would like to share my experience on Portfolio 9. Madam Heavens is an integral part of Portfolio 9. She started with us. At some point, she became our ambassador. She's here representing us outside the community and inside. Portfolio 9 focuses on entrepreneurship. And why am I bringing P9 into this? Because we have been able to learn in the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years, we have been able to learn how to properly empower women using numbers. Yeah. Apart from the bankable skills we impact on them, apart from the entrepreneurship training tracks that we expose them to, we have also learned that while you are intervening, you have to keep your eyes on the numbers. So, so you're helping women, you're grooming them, you're exposing them to life-changing opportunities, but you're also keeping your eyes on the numbers, which is very important. So I know I don't have much time. So what we have learned through empowering women entrepreneurially is the fact that if you don't keep your eyes on the numbers, you may not be able to paint your picture properly. Remember, for every endeavor, you have stakeholders. There are different categories of stakeholders or different types of stakeholders who you are accountable to. So while you are discharging your whatever mandate it is for us, which is entrepreneurship, we have learned that if we do not capture, if we do not pay attention to numbers and present those numbers in an appealing way to our stakeholders, sustainability is threatened. So over the years, we've been doing so much for women, but we have also been tracking the numbers. So on P9, for instance, we know that the distribution is 64%, 64 to 36. 64% of the entire population on P9, 64% women, 36% men. And that gives us joy because, of course, we are all experts here. It means that going by the numbers, more women are participating in entrepreneurial activities. Now, let me bring that to, because you need those numbers to plan. You cannot plan, Madam Heavens, you know what I mean. You cannot plan without numbers. Even the federal government is struggling with some things. The simple reason, not that they don't have resources or access to resources, they have access to resources, but the challenge they have is that they don't have those numbers. So participation is in numbers. Performance is in numbers. It could be qualitative, it could be quantitative, however you want to measure, or whatever KPIs you want to use. So coming back to politics, which is the crux of today's matter, we want more women to participate. Yeah. So we want more women to be involved in decision making that has to do with politics. There was a time we invited a woman who's based in England. She's actually the APC women leader in England. So we invited her to P9 to talk about how women can participate more actively in politics, constructive politics, not the other way around. So we brought her in on P9 and then the same thing. She looked at the numbers and she said, look, we need you to redesign your programs in such a way that you will attract more women so that the numbers will increase. And so we went back to the drawing board. So how do we bring women in, more women into this whole thing that we want to do? How do we bring more women in? How do we make whatever it is that we're doing more attractive, more appealing to women? How do we make sure that that value is being added, real value, is being added? Hello, can you still hear me? Yes. So that's that for numbers. I'll give you another stat. In terms of business ownership, I'll be switching between entrepreneurship and politics, which is what I'm supposed to do. In terms of business ownership, I'll give you a simple one that federal government has suddenly embraced. A business, any business or an enterprise is, let me use in plural terms, women owned if ownership is 51%. If the ownership of that entity is 51. If women own 51% of the entity, meaning that the remaining 49% could go to men. So in a business that is structured in that form is categorized as a women-led enterprise. Yeah, and excuse me, it's categorized as a women-led enterprise. And again, there are other statistics that we have that are not very favorable to women in the SME subsector, which we are working day and night to ensure that we pull or push as many women as possible into those spaces or into those ecosystems. So you have to forgive me. Excuse me. So coming back to this area, politics, we have experts here. What do we do in Nigeria? I'm going to throw that back at you. How do we encourage more women to participate in governance, to participate in politics? What are the things that we're not doing in the past that we can start doing going forward that will bring women in? Because we know women make quality decisions. Excuse me. Sorry, women make quality decisions. So what are the things, what are the factors, what are those things that we can do to enable, even if it's in the environment, how do we create an environment, those enablers that will pull in or attract more women into these systems, into these ecosystems? So that's for us to, I've given you an example with what we do on P9. Now, let me just give you one more. At the moment, we're negotiating with Wema Bank. I wonder how many of us have heard about gender banking. Anybody? Well, there's a concept, a new concept called gender banking, where you look at your products and services through the eyes, through the prism of gender, and to be so that you will have a balance, so that you have a balance in whatever you're dishing out. Yeah, it's you should take note of. You should actually read. You can read about gender banking. Wema Bank is very strong in that regard, and so we've been talking. And because they want us to have a balance in whatever, because we are considering a partnership, so their eyes are on the numbers as well, number of women in the community, because a lot of the products will be tied to female entrepreneurs. Just to quickly add one more thing, there are certain loan schemes that are tied around women in certain countries. So there are loans in microfinance. There are loans that if a woman is involved and her husband, there will be cross guarantees. And then there will be cross guarantees, and then there will not be need for collateral. I'm showing you that's the power of a woman in any system, in any structure, in any scheme. So there are loans that once the woman is involved as an integral, as a confirmed member of that household, as a wife, there will be no need for guarantees. For collaterals. So we want to bring. Remember, there's a phrase I used a while ago: gender banking. Yes. So going forward, there are a lot of institutions that are beginning to re-engineer, are beginning to restructure their services, their products to favorably, favorably accommodate women. So I've said a lot about entrepreneurship and women. For politics, I don't know. It's just for us to keep singing, shouting, making all the noise. Madam Heavens is a noisemaker in a good way. She knows what I'm talking about. It's just for us to continue this advocacy and for us to be consistent. If it can work in entrepreneurship, it can work in any area. Because as far as I'm concerned, entrepreneurship is the fastest and most sustainable path out of poverty. The day government comes to understand that the poverty indices, everything will change. So I want to encourage us to keep talking about this. to have more of conversations like this going forward, and to make women, you know, the thing with women in Africa is, let me give an example. I've traveled to one part of Bauchi. Please let me know when my time is up. So I traveled to one part of Bauchi for an intervention program, and I was not even allowed to, apart from the distance I maintained, of course, the acceptable distance, I just delivered the training, and I was not allowed to appraise. I was not allowed to measure the impact of the training. Why? Because there were religious lines that had been drawn and all of that. So there are barriers. There are barriers there are entry barriers. So you might want to start paying attention to those barriers. If women are not actively participating in a particular thing, what are the challenges they have? It may not, may not necessarily be religious. It could be just the excess luggage they carry as mothers of many kids, you know, all the demands of the household, or the quality of education they have, or lack of access to certain things. But you need to identify what those barriers are for you to increase the numbers that you want. So so sorry. Next time you bring me up like this, I'm going to make up for today. But trust me, I would have, like I said when I started, Madam Olawumi is someone that I cannot disappoint. Even if I spent 1 minute here, excuse me, she deserves it, and everybody here deserves it. So what we are here to do is to learn and share ideas and learn new ways of solidify or learn new ways of empowering women and bringing women into decision-making processes. Yeah, so I'm going to still remain here, but I'm going to turn off my video so that if there are questions, I can take them. And if there are areas that you need clarification, more clarification, then I'll attend to those areas, if you don't mind. But you can see from my face, I'm struggling. So please forgive me.
Thank you so much. This is the part where I will let the moderator speak, but honestly, I have to thank you for coming on, because definitely, just as he said, I started thinking, oh, would he be able to make it? And he has showed up, and he mentioned some things. He said, I'm a good noisemaker. He's glad to know that I would have made the list of noisemakers, but in a very good way. So many things that I've learned from the conversation also. Gender banking. I think we should look into that. And then he also asked the question, what are those things that are the issues when it comes to women, access to the political sphere when it comes to women? He mentioned the power of number and keeping track to ensure that, you have those numbers that you want. He mentioned the percentage that makes it seem to government that a woman is in charge. And I think we should have more of that. But before we ask him questions, if you have questions, you can raise up your hands, please feel free. But I'm going to also answer this, because from the discourse we had with, I think on the platform of the Coalition of Professional Women in Politics, about some of the barriers. I think they were the first speakers on the platform some months ago. There are a cross-section of things that are the problem when it comes to women. Number one, I think part of what we need to go into, which we will still tackle on the platform, is policy. A lot of policies that don't particularly encourage women. Sometimes we had someone ask us a question that in fact, I think it was a presidential candidate, in quote, that I sat with for an interview. And he was like, oh, so why should they be the ones to support? And I'm saying, you're the majority. You're the ones that color what we have now as policy. And so if there are people who are, who are mature, who are learned, who know that you're wasting half of the resource, more than half of the resource of the country at the moment, which is female, then you should be able to make policies that would encourage women to join. Things like having to have meeting by 2 a.m. Personally, I don't think it's corporately sound. Then you now say, oh, if you want to be in politics, you have to, go for meetings in the middle of the night. And then they now say, they won't allow them go. It's not about that. It's about safety. My people say in Yoruba, many or what. That means the darkness does not know who you are. It does not respect you that, oh, you are honorable. Anything can happen to you in the dark, whether you are male or female. So there are lots of things that from policy to funding to security issues, especially for women with disability, part of their issue is, how do I run when something happens? Because something always happens. Is there adequate security for people who need it? It should be for everyone, not just for women with disability in politics. So there's a lot. I will wait if anybody has any question, but I have a question for you. Now, for a platform like this, just as you see, it's almost like a family meeting. Portfolio 9 is family to me also. I've seen the nitty-gritty of the work within Portfolio 9, and I know that it's a lot. And just as he said, they do a lot of things for women, just like our first speaker, who is particular about women and has proven over and over again that is what she does best. But my question would be that when it comes to structure, how do people really get structure in place? Because no matter how much numbers we have, I mentioned before you joined that when it comes to maybe backing up a particular candidate, for instance, maybe a very good female candidate, if we had enough number of women to support, we can make it happen. But I also believe that there should be structure in place. And I said earlier on, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. If there's a structure that works, then it can be customized and replicated in other spheres of influence. When it comes to the structure of Portfolio 9, what went into it? Because I've seen it evolve over and over again, and I believe that other platforms or other spheres of influence can benefit from it. Mr. Philip, I hope you're still there and you heard my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, so what worked for us on P9? We started designing products and services that women will consider will be attractive to women. And then we had to, there's a national policy on micro, small, and medium enterprises, which has been reviewed recently. So what we did, there's a particular, we now created outside of that policy, because like you said, you can create something that will work, that will suit you, that will suit your community. So what we did was that we created a new category for women. I know you know about household enterprises. Yes, there are enterprises that you can run from the comfort of your home. You don't need to, even NAFDAC, if you are producing yogurt as a woman, NAFDAC can come there as long as you meet their requirements in terms of hygiene and other safety requirements. They will, as long as you meet those requirements, they will give you a license. So what we did on P9 was we created new categories of enterprises focusing on women and paying particular attention to the fact that women stay within the household longer than men. So if you want to design or redesign anything, particularly for women, you have to factor in the household. So we have a special category of enterprises we call household enterprises, and the solutions we supply to them are quite different from the general solutions that we supply to other members of the community. That's one. Two, we started encouraging women. You know, word of mouth is powerful. We started encouraging women to invite other women, and then we started attaching incentives to that. The work, what you are doing here is an uphill task. I'm sure you know that already. In a setting like in Africa, in Nigeria, this endeavor you're embarking on is like climbing Kilimanjaro. I hope you know that. And I trust that you are prepared already. I trust you. I know what you can do. So what I'm saying is that these are baby steps. We have started already. So but what I'm saying is there's a lot of work that will go in. So we experimented. So we started having programs, activities that women find very interesting. We even started organizing cooking competitions, attaching prizes. And we now, apart from the categorization, yes, we now have women household enterprises, where fish farms, poultry farms run by women from their households. So apart from that, we started encouraging women to bring in other women, talk about these things. And please remind me, like the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, remember the affirmative, please just remind me, heavens. There was when Jonathan was president, he wanted a certain number of women to be in his cabinet. I remember clearly. I'm trying to remember the phrase that was used for that. Is it affirmative action or something? Please forgive me, it's not coming to mind readily. But I think it was affirmative action. I can't remember the percentage, numbers again. But Jonathan was very, 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 very supportive of women. He wanted more women in his cabinet, and he did so much. In fact, a lot of schemes, during Jonathan, and even this present administration. As a woman, you can walk into some banks and get a loan within 24 hours. Yes. So even suppliers of solutions, suppliers of products and services, even within the banking system, have started accommodating women. Have started tweaking or altering their products to suit women. So, excuse me. So, what else can you do? Apart from making all the noise, advocacy, influencing policy decisions. You can also help women to network. You can also help women, because there's power in networking. I advise you, if you don't, you can set up a cooperative that can be replicated, that can just self-propel. You can set up women cooperatives, which is a very good one. Women cooperatives, because together they are able to assess their collective, their power increases. When women come together and form institutions like that, whether formal or informal, their bargaining power increases. So you may consider forming not cooperatives of business. It could be it could be groups. It could be whatever you call those groups. Women can come together and network, connect, and leverage those groups. And then you can have point persons, women, that can participate. And again, how many ministers do you know that are women? Do you have their contacts? That's a good question. Women helping women, women pushing or pulling women, how many? So you have to widen. You have to start consulting more widely. You have to start reaching out to women in position, women who can influence these policies. And so you have to, so that drag net has to be widened. What else? Funding. I believe in interconnectivity. So what that means is that if you're empowered as a woman through a bank loan and you set up an enterprise and you start doing well after 2-3 years, you should leverage that opportunity and delve into politics or delve into other activities that will also empower other women, leveraging your proceeds from, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So if you have been empowered, for instance, there was a CBN loan that a lot of women got 10 million. Yes. So their their purchasing power increased. Yes. But what do you do after that? After you've been empowered, we're all making noise, empower women, empower women. What happens after women have been empowered? What do the women do with such powers? Economic powers in this case. So and then of course, you cannot separate social from economic. That's why we usually say socio-economic and political. So we should be able to crisscross, Like if women are being empowered economically and socially, then that should translate into political empowerment as well by organizing them. Women need to be organized. If you're not organized, there's little you can do. So that is what has worked for us. And then on P9, just one last point, I empowered women, including Madam Heavens. So I set up teams and strategic teams, and I made women leaders. And it was easy for them to also empower other women. Yes, so that's how to structure your entity or your organization. Put women in strategic positions, and then the ones that are being empowered, keep track of that, and then leverage that empowerment into other areas that will be beneficial to you as a woman or to other women within your group. So that's what worked for us. Let me recap a little. We started with products. We attracted women with products that were suitable for them, that they found really attractive. They could work from home. And then they could walk into a bank as women and access funds, special loans. So the empowerment started from the products we're supplying in the community. Then we started creating strategic teams. And then we made women leaders of those teams, and so it was easy for us to, the structure, and just like on and on like that, we started building from the bottom with women heading different. Right now on P9, in terms of team composition, we have 70% women, 30% men. That's shocking, right? Aha. The leadership of P9 is 70% women. That will shock you. So, and then we've been able to do a lot. Our growth we've been growing year on year, and it's just been amazing. So I would advise you to do the same. I advise you to also have more of conversations like this, and then bring in powerful women. I know you know a lot of powerful women, Madam Heavens. Bring them in, talk to them, show them the numbers, and then before you know it, women will be leading in different areas in this country. I'm looking forward to it. Such a time when we'll have a woman as president of Nigeria. That has always been my prayer point. A woman should be president of this country. Let's even try women. Let's give a woman that position and then see how things go. It's not experimental. Women are very thorough. Women are very intelligent. Women add value. So it's not like it's an experiment. Let's try a woman. We're not trying any woman. If you make a woman the president of Nigeria, Nigeria is going to work. And I hope there are no men in this room. They will even outperform the men. We know that. The best hand I have on P9, the very best hand, I will not mention her name. The best hand we have is a woman. She multitasks. Even she has so many children, but she still delivers for P9. So that is a strength. And we need to tap into that. We need to tap into that strength. We need to bring in women and allow them to do their thing for us. So I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. So amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Basically, what I've gotten from all that you have said is that we also need incentives. Women need incentives to be able to do what they have to do. And thank you so much, sir.
Just one thing also, sorry.
Okay.
The incentive does not have to be monetary.
Yes, definitely.
The incentive could be what Madam Heaven said earlier. It could be that assurance of safety. That's an incentive.
Yes.
It could be access to new opportunities. That's an incentive. It does not necessarily have to be monetary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. All right. So if you have any questions or comments, please raise your hands or indicate by raising your hands, putting up the hand icon so that we can ask our questions and give our comments. Thank you.
I know there are P9 members here.
Okay, so since we don't have any questions, or maybe some people are still writing theirs down, I would like to ask this question, sir. What do you think about, how do you think we could help women get more access to information that would help groups, thrive? Most people don't have access to what they have from government and civil societies. So how do you think we can get more access to this?
So when it comes to access, forgive me that I left that out, because access to information is power. So if you have access to information, you're already empowered. When it comes to information, that is a tough one, because our systems are wired in such a way that things get to men first. Madam Heavens, before you got to this point in your career, I know what you went through as a woman. You need to read the success stories of some women. You will know that women actually work 10 times harder. For a woman to get access to certain information, she actually has to work harder, and probably sometimes, excuse me, excuse me, sometimes even pay to get access to the same information that men are exposed to. So when it comes to information, we have a ministry. There's a Ministry of Women Affairs, right? Yes. So you might want to start involving government entities like that. Government entities that are responsible for women, that cater for women. You may want to involve them. Ministry of Women Affairs empowers women in different ways. So if we all agree here that we are redefining what empowerment means, yeah, because traditionally we believe that empowerment is when something has entered you, somebody has greased your palms. Is also, you have a lot of women have a lot of unlearning to do. Please just be prepared for this journey. Our women need to unlearn a lot of things. But that's for another day. Unlearn and relearn. So for information, you need to bring in entities of government that make decisions for women. You need to bring in Ministry of Women Affairs. There's a Ministry of Information. I'm going to give a simple example, because I believe we are all women here, apart from myself. So remember those adverts you run on radio or TV about family planning? Somebody's about to start laughing. Remember those family planning adverts? That the adverts will be so enticing that you will listen to them. It could be just 2 minutes of those adverts, but the message will be passed. Like, don't have, make sure, Mama Nkechi, you just born 3 months ago. No go near Papa Nkechi. What am I trying to say? You need to involve, for information to flow more towards women, for women to have more access, you need to involve entities of government that are responsible for information flow. You need to involve entities of government that are responsible for women, over women and their affairs. You need to involve them. You cannot leave them out. So that the reason for these approaches, so that your reach will be wider, deeper, so that you can touch places that ordinarily your resources, as your group, your resources, where you are limited. Because government has all the resources. Government is government. Like they say, after God is government. So you need to involve government in this. And meaning that you have to do a lot of advocacy. Excuse me. So how else can you allow information flow? Then you have to start educating our men. Remember, you cannot intervene. You cannot support women without involving the men. We all agree, right? You cannot support women without involving men, their husbands, their fathers, brothers. So we also need to be talking to our men. On Portfolio 9, Madam Heavens, anytime I make a post, in fact, my posts are usually 60%, 65% in favor of women. In fact, anytime there's an opportunity, in fact, from my hashtag, you will know that particular post is for a woman. I usually hashtag for women only. So what I'm trying to say is we have to start involving men more, consulting more widely, and more importantly, attaching those incentives. So if information is to flow to women, where is information coming from? Who are the custodians? Information has a source. So who are the custodians? If the custodians are not women, then those custodians need to be educated on how to disseminate, on how to push those things in such a way that it will get to women as well. So let me throw one question back at you, Chine, and Madam Heavens. Remember, we talked about barriers a while ago. The same barriers that apply to entrepreneurship, access to entrepreneurship, access to bankable skills for women now, access to business development services, access to even politics. The same barriers apply across board. So women have common barriers. It's the same barriers. So if you can identify those barriers that don't allow women to participate fully in politics, the same thing will apply to information. Those same barriers will apply. So I think it's just in one bucket. Everything that affects women can be put in a bucket, like one cocktail. Excuse me. So let's start involving major decision makers, major stakeholders, key players. There's a reason why they are called key players. They are players, but they are key players within the ecosystem. So we need to start involving them and then forcing them to push information to women using various channels that are available.
All right, thank you.
I hope I was
much.
able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, sir. All right, thank you. So do we have any comments, any questions? Okay, in the absence of questions or comments, I would like to hand over to Olawumi Heavens to give her closing remarks and any other comments that she may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chineye. Thank you. Thank you very much also to our speakers. I know that, in fact, one of our speakers came quite early. Thank you so much, Happiness. Thank you for dropping by and everyone that joined. And of course, Portfolio 9 boss, thank you for being here. As I said earlier on, our third speaker sent her apology. She honestly could not just get up. She's been under the weather. I think it's something just going round. So I want to thank everybody that joined. Just as the Portfolio 9 boss said, there are things that we're also looking into, and of course, a lot of partnerships, partnership with donors, people in governance. As we said, even the Coalition of Professional Women in Politics, which is a platform that is not about political parties. We have women in various levels of governance within that particular group. And I am one of the advisors for that particular group. And we've been able to speak to a lot of women on the national level, on the state level, on the local levels. And also we're partnering, just as I said earlier on, with women groups like women in politics with disability and much more. And the good thing is it's not just a Nigerian thing. We also have partners from Ghana, Kenya, and so much more on the platform. So I want to say my appreciation goes out to everyone. Okay, said I also look forward, Angela, I also look forward to when a woman will be president. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that Philip mentioned that. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for staying true. If you have comments, questions, I know that next month is usually a monthly program. Next month, we're definitely going to have another exciting and insightful topic with fantastic speakers. So this is where I say goodbye and thank you so much for your support for AWIPA. I'll try as much as possible to keep everyone posted, especially on the workshops that we intend to have in the coming months. Have a fantastic day.